Okay, we got it taken care of. And he gave me an assignment. And that is why I'm up here today, which I enjoy. And of course, the title is Hell. Which one? Because in the New Testament, there are 3 different hells, and I'm going to do an outline. I'm going to outline it, and then I would hope that you would go back home and do your study. So to set the stage, let's go to Revelation chapter 20, verses 5 and 6. And it says, "Blessed and holy are those who share in the first resurrection." Now that should kind of tell you something. Only the dead can be resurrected. So there's something that's going to be falling in line here. So keep that in the back of your mind. It says, "For them the second death holds no power." Keep that one in your mind as well. And because it holds no power, but they will be priests of God and of Christ and will reign with him 1,000 years. So this is the basis I'm setting. It says, this is the first resurrection. The rest of the dead did not come back to life until the 1,000 years have ended. Question, where are they? What state are they in? And that's kind of what we're going to cover today. And if you would go to the same chapter, we're going to read 12, 14, and 15. It said, "I saw the dead, both great and small, standing before God's throne." That's the second resurrection. Question, who are these people? It said the rest of the dead. They weren't resurrected in the first one. The first resurrection is the one with Jesus Christ and his chosen ones who will rule with him. And it said, "And the books were opened, including the book of life." Keep that in the back of your mind. It says, "And the dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. And anyone whose name was not found recorded in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Then death and grave were thrown into the lake of fire." Listen, the lake of fire is the second death. Those in the first resurrection, this second death has no power. And there's a reason for that. So let's go to John. I'm still setting the stage here. Let's go to John 3:13. "For it says, no one has ascended into heaven except he who descended from heaven, the Son of Man." Now I know that kind of goes against the tradition of men that teach when you die you go up or down. But what God is telling us, that's not so. And then we go to Acts 2:29. It says, "Brothers, I may say to you with confidence about the patriarch David, that he both died and was buried, and his tomb is with us today." Question, where's David? Well, Peter's telling us he's here in his tomb, still with us. He didn't go anywhere, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Now in Ecclesiastes 12:7, it goes, "Our bodies will return to the dust of the earth, and the breath of life will go back to God who gave it to us." And then in Ecclesiastes 9:5, "The living at least know they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, nor are they remembered." Now this is where it gets kind of touchy, because it talks about the breath of life will go back to God. Now when you look at James 2 verse 26, it says, "A body without the spirit is dead." So what is this breath of life? It's your consciousness. It's you and your experiences. It basically acts like a recording device. It records your entire life, all the things that you've done, your experiences, and your love for God, if you did love God. But when it returns to God, it is not conscious. That's what that statement is. The dead know nothing. There's no consciousness there. Now, I will say, I do not know how God does this, how he deals with it. But what it tells me, he keeps it until what? A resurrection takes place, where he joins this breath of life back into a body. Because in James 2:26, that's what it says. A body has to have a breath of life. Otherwise, it's just simply dead. It's a touchy subject, but we'll get there. Then in Hebrews 9:27 it says, and just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment. There's a sequence of events here, as we read in the beginning, with the first resurrection, second resurrection, first death, second death. But I want to go introduce you to these concepts of hell and how they are interpreted in the Bible, how they are written. Because when you look at this, you see I have Greek at G86, G1492. Those are strong concordance references. If you have any kind of a book or a strong that is a dictionary of Hebrew and Greek words, because when you do Bible studies, sometimes you don't understand something, and it's good to go into the manuscript, see how that English word was translated from a Greek word. You know, I used the Vine's dictionary. I don't know, somebody of you probably did. I just looked up hell. They only referenced one, which was Gehenna. I was a little disappointed in that. I was thinking, because I used this dictionary a lot, why didn't they tell us about the three that are there? It's a good question. But Hades, it says, properly unseen, that is, Hades, or the place, state of the departed souls. In other words, the grave. Because when I look at this, I thought about it while I was doing it, a cemetery. What is a cemetery? It's the realm of the dead. Is it not? It's not some fiery cavern, where demons are poking you and making you miserable. Doesn't exist. Your body returns to the earth. It returns to where it came from, the dust. Your breath of life, God becomes the custodian of it. You are there in Hades until something happens, until something takes place. It's that judgment. We understand the church is under judgment now. For what reason? The first resurrection. So we're in that process of judging. But now I want to go over to Matthew 10:28. It says, don't be afraid of those who want to kill your body. They cannot touch your soul. Fear only God, who can destroy both soul and body in hell. That word hell comes from the Greek Gehenna. It's not talking about Hades. It's talking about Gehenna. And when you go into, you can look at the Hebrew in H15:16, H20:11, and it refers to the valley of Hinnom. Gehenna as the name for a place or state of everlasting punishment. But I went back to the word destroy. That's in Matthew 10:28, which is the Greek G622, G575, G3630. And I do not really know how to pronounce Greek, but it's that Greek word apolumi, I believe. And what that word means, it means to destroy fully. Reflectively, to perish or lose, literally, or destroy, die, mar, or perish. So, when it says everlasting punishment, in a sense it is. Because if you end up in the lake of fire, you're destroyed. Both body and soul. You are totally gone. There's nothing left. So in a sense, you can look at it, but most people will interpret it, it's forever and ever. You'll never, it goes on and on. It does not. It does not. But see, these are points of argument. This is what, traditions of men will argue about. But by going back to the words in the manuscript, you get a better understanding of it. Well, now there is another hell. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. It said, "For God did not spare even the angels," not human beings, "who sinned. He threw them into hell," Tartaro, "in gloomy pits of darkness, where they are being held until the day of judgment." Didn't it not say somewhere in the Bible that you would judge angels? So there's a judgment coming for these angels, but this Tartaru hell, not for humans. It's only for angels. So the question I have to say, they are here in this hell. Are they in the hell of Gehenna? No. That concept of traditions of men, of people going there and being tormented, is not true. It's a lie. And the only way you can understand it is to have God's Spirit go back into these written manuscripts and look at these words and how they mean. Because I would ask anybody, how many hells are there? What are they going to tell you? One? But there's not. There's three. So it's, just kind of, I'm closing on this. I can remember when I was young, my mother's family, they were of a different religion. Well, we really weren't a religious family at all. And my brothers and I would act up, create all sorts of problems, and then my great-grandmother would jump up and say, "You boys are going to hell." Well, if she ever said that to me again, I would say, "Which one?" She wouldn't know. So I know it's just an outline, but it's a suggestion when you get into these tricky verses, go to the manuscripts, see how these words are translated. Because I remember when I first started in the church, this was one of the very first booklets I read. And I was overwhelmed by it because I always had the concept there's only one place. And to find out that's not true was a great relief. Because when that time comes, when your physical body said, "We're done, it's over," it dies. But the thing about it, it's like going to sleep. If you're really tired, and when you fall asleep, you're in a state of unconsciousness. You know nothing. So is it with Hades. Your body's in the grave. They're in the realm of the dead. Your breath of life, who you are, is in God. He gave you life. It returns to him. But understand, it is not conscious. It's there with him in his care for a moment, which we come to the resurrections, when he rejoins that breath of life to a new body. In the future, it'll be a spiritual one for the first resurrection. Second resurrection's physical. So they have an opportunity to hear God, to hear his word, and to make a decision. And if the decision is, I don't want to have anything to do with you, God. I don't like you. I don't like your words. I don't like your way of life. Second death. You're going to Gehenna. And you are gone forever. Body and soul. So it's just a lesson to study, because I know when you're out in the world, your job and things like that, this comes up. Because where I work, they're all churchgoers, and we actually had this conversation last week. They listened to me. Doesn't mean that they believed me, but it got their attention. So I know they're still thinking about it. So it's just one of those things to know the truth about. There's more than one. And know how to explain it.